Hi, Alex Fuhrmann. Welcome to 10 by 6.
Hello, Jace. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. Alex, from listeners and our readers, is Westham East Councillor, okay? And you're also chair of the working group. So you're focused very much in Weymouth, very much in Westham, and your focus is also very primarily on young people. So if you can just tell us a bit about yourself, and then we'll go on to a little bit more detail.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jason. Thanks for having me. And I will note it is the mighty Westham East, if you're going to get it right. But yeah, my name's Alex. I'm a primary school teacher. I teach around the corner. I live here in Westham East. I've been a counsellor for, I guess, just over 2 years now. I've never done anything like this before. Primarily, my background within community engagement is working as part of the basketball club. With Weymouth basketball. That was not planned, but yeah, I developed a lot of the junior setup from the basketball club, from under 9s, 12s, 14s, 16s, and got into teaching, and kind of sort of took on this role of, well, if you want the world to change, you've got to change it. There's no point banging on about it on Facebook. If you're serious about getting stuck in and complaining about local politics, for example, get stuck in. And I thought, well, that little thing in my head thought, you always got to run for public office maybe once in your life. And I tried it, and by hook or crook, 21 votes, I beat the current leader of the opposition for DC Council. So
Fantastic.
yeah, I'm doing all right, thank you.
And the first 2 years then, since you were elected, has it fulfilled your expectations, or has it been more challenging than you expected?
It's a massive learning curve. There's no such thing as training for being in local politics or local government. I think in terms of has it met my expectation, I'm going to say no, because I haven't done everything I want to do. And by the way, that list does grow every day, if not by 2 or 3 things when I see them on the street or get an idea. But in terms of my own personal development, yeah, I think it's been great. I think everybody should try and go into local politics, just to appreciate what actually goes into sort of like the everyday life. Whether it's like your bins being taken out, or an art project, there's so much that goes into it, and it really does take a lot of my time. But it's time that I love to spend doing it. Trying to think, I think when I first realised it, I was in council meeting, and the Rambling Association had sent in a brief to another councillor, and anybody sort of, I don't know, I suppose I'm not trying to slice off the Rambling Association and their followers, but it was, for me, it's not a particular interest, and maybe not for people of my generation, or certainly my friendship groups. But when I was there, I kind of had this little sort of surreal moment where I came out of myself, and the councillor in question was going on about it, and I kind of just came to and thought, God, this is really boring. And then this sort of like another wave came through, and I was like, but I really love it. Like, this is awesome. I'm like having an effect on my community, and as hard as I work is the effect that I can have. And it kind of, from then on, that was only a couple of meetings in. From then on, I've just been like, well, nobody can say no to me. If I want to do something, it's on my own back, and it's through my own hard work. I mean, people have said no, and stuff does get caught out, but genuinely, you get what you put into it, and it's been an extremely fulfilling and exciting and just engaging part of my life, and I love it.
Fantastic. And you're on the Services and the Human Resources Committee. Tell us a little bit about why that attracted you, in particular.
Yeah, sure. So services is everything the Weymouth Town Council delivers. I think there's 2 primary sort of important committees. That's finance and governance. When you talk about the money and the way it's delivered. But the services is how it's delivered. It's getting into the brass tacks of, if you've got something that needs delivering, whether it be a service, an art project. I might mention that a bit later, because I've got one coming up. But that's where you get stuff done. And as much as I appreciate the paperwork and things like that, I don't work on a on a process of tick this, write this, do that. I do it when I need to, but I'd rather get stuck in and kind of, you know, make sure that whatever needs doing is being done. Human resources, my background in teaching, I'm also, you know, a union member, I was a caseworker locally for the NEU, and I just had a background on that. So when the council came into being, we required lots of policy and human resource kind of expertise in that area. So I was really happy to lend my kind of professional background to that.
And you're chair of the youth working group. So what does that enable you to do, and how closely are you working with young people locally, and how proactive are they in coming forward with ideas, etc.?
Yeah, so I was asked to be the chairman of the youth working group. Unfortunately, this is all sort of pre-COVID that it all got put in place, and we had wonderful connections with Antonia from Participation People. We talked to DC about how we can engage young people in politics, or rather, not really politics. I mean, the process of local government. Really, that's what it's about. So what we got to was an experience day. COVID came along, knocked it all out. You know, nobody could do anything. I'm really happy that at this point now, we've got all of the contacts in school. We've got a brief for a day that we're going to do in July, hopefully, for young people in Weymouth. They're going to be contacted by contacts from the schools, because we want to develop a steering group. We want to know what young people want. I think when I was growing up, and I certainly don't, you know, dismiss the ambitions of current councillors or long-standing councillors, but I certainly didn't feel like I had a voice in Weymouth when I was growing up. Maybe I wasn't trying to, I don't know. But what my hope is that we can move away from 60-year-olds named David that are white blokes making all the decisions, and we can come to somewhere where young people have a platform on whatever level of government and service that is given to a community, and they can feel like they're empowered to say something and talk to us, and ultimately make decisions for themselves as well. You know, I want to make, through the youth group, a youth council. Now, it might be a panel, might be a forum, it's whatever the young people want, really. But we're going to do this steering group. We're going to find out from a select group where we should kind of head. And then after that, I'm really hoping that we can develop a town council for young people. And when we have those big meetings, one of the main things, the things that we can never ignore, is what does our youth town council, what do they think? What input do they want? Do they see this is something for the long term, or is it something they're really not interested in? Because we can only make the best decisions based on our experiences. And now, if our experiences are predominantly retired white males, we're not gonna be inclusive. And that's not to say, and I think, you know, that town councillors don't do their best to represent young people, but I don't think they do. And that's why I stood for what, you know, on my campaign, and to stand up for not just people of Westham East, but for every young person in Weymouth, to know that actually, you know, like, Fuhrmann's there, and if you've got something to tell him and you want to speak some truth to power, I'll help you do that. And yeah, I just think, you know, we're going to do this day in July. We're going to get the wheels turning. We're going to get it rolling, and hopefully we're going to have something that, you know, the whole town can be proud of, and everybody can feel, you know, that they're invested in.
Fantastic. And that leads us into sort of the main question I want to finish off with is, what do you see, you know, the future for Weymouth being? Obviously very much driven now by the youth voice and the youth imagination, but sort of more generally as well, encompassing obviously young people. You know, what would your vision be like for Weymouth in 5, 10, 15 years? Because you know, obviously the slogan that you've satirically adopted, "Make Weymouth Great Again." So what would it be to make it look great?
Yeah, and I think, you know, very much tongue in cheek on that, "Make Weymouth Great Again." I think, you know, it's subjective, of course, but I think to be great, it invokes a feeling. It invokes something about your comfortability within your community. And I think that's where I come from, though I pinched it off of the Orange Man. You know, it was meant to very much be in line with the fact that, you know, it's not about fairy lights and harbour railings and things like that. It's a holistic view that, you know, that where you come from you should get a great feeling from that. I mean, I certainly do from the town, and I want people to kind of invest in their community. But to answer your question, what, you know, 5-10 years time, I think we need to have a place, and there'll be loads of documents that say, oh, great place to do, and that's great if you're ticking a box, and that's fantastic if you want a brand logo. But you really do have to just get down to brass tacks. We need to have a town that doesn't cater for a particular brand of demographic, whether it be a tourist or a retired person or a working class person or university educated. We need everything, and I think it has to start though. And I'm sorry, it will be you. We just need to have somewhere where young people feel that there's a platform for them to fulfill their dreams. You know, if you're a young entrepreneur, we should have business opportunities and support networks for those to happen. If you are if you're a graduate, we should have an infrastructure or facilities where, you know, graphic designers, filmmakers, we should have industries that that kind of aim to attract these kind of professionals. If you want to be a plumber, then you know, we should be able to have those things. I know for many things there is, but until we're really inclusive, until we've really got something that can cater for everyone, maybe we can't do it. But, you know, we don't make, you know, good the enemy of perfect, or however way you say it. But, you know, we could do something that just brings that we could just do something that brings forward, you know, a feeling of greatness and a feeling investment from people. That's what I want to do, and to get people off of Facebook from just having a reason to complain about something a lot of the time. It's knowing that, you know, if something's broken, something needs fixing, it can get fixed. If something can be better, we can find a way of making it better, you know, within the community. I know it's all very like positive. Maybe people will be going, oh, you know, you can't think that. What about this? What about that? I just think, you know, if you don't try, you'll never achieve it. You know, in basketball, we say you miss every shot you don't take. Well, you know, we miss every opportunity we don't try and make for ourselves in this town. So I'd love us, you know, to get on that footing.
No, and I entirely agree with you. It's so difficult to come up with an idea these days without somebody wanting to come and put their size 10s all over it and squeeze it into the ground. And we need to be sort of, you know, taking your vision, I think, and what we need to do is get as many people on board as possible, and then they need to come together, unite, in order to make as much of it work as they possibly can. Because otherwise, you're absolutely right. We sit on social media, we pick things apart, nothing ever gets done, and then we just continue the cycle of moaning and whinging. So yeah, no, it's great. No, thank you very much, Alex, for coming on 10 by 6 today, and you will be on hopefully a whole number of times in the future as well to take us through how it's progressing, and anything else, obviously, that you think the community needs to know about. So thank you so much for coming on board.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Jason. If anybody needs to get hold of me, I'm always on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It's at Councillor Fuhrmann, CLLRFUHRMANN. Hit me up, ideas, anything you've got, please. I'm always here.
Fabulous. Thank you. Thank you so much. Take care, Alex.
Thank you.